Okay, so we're back with the King 1.0 machine. Now, we've got the little trenching bucket on there, but before we go dig a little trench and so on and so forth, right, I sort of wanted to fire this machine up and sort of just track it over so you can sort of see it moving around and so on and so forth, right? The difference in between the 1.7 and the 1.0, right? Remember, it's the 1.7, okay? You got to understand how things work, okay? Labor-wise, there's only slightly more labor that will go into building a bigger machine, but there's more componentry, that is more expensive componentry, right? That's why the price is higher, but you also get higher quality, whereas the 1.0 machine, depending on your budget, at $13,990 plus your GST basically for the machine and the implements, okay? It's good value, but it's not as higher quality machine. Nothing wrong with it, right? I'm just being honest with you, okay? So, of a Deutz motor. But remember, when something is made in China, people freak out. But if you're watching this on a bloody any sort of electronics now, that's made in China. The chair that you're sitting on is probably made in China. Half your car's made in China, so it's never anything to be concerned about. It's understanding how it all works, right? So the Chinese are good at copying stuff, so they copy the German Deutz motor, which goes in here, right? And then you got to remember the rest of it. It's steel. So this is all fabrication. So what they have is boiler makers that actually have to manufacture all these parts and so on and so forth, right? And that's where the cost saving brings it down because of those parts. And once again, I went looking in the industry for the machines. I went over there and spec'd machines up myself and so on and so forth. So don't ever freak about that, just understand it properly. So we'll fire this one up. This one's a little bit noisier than the Yanmar because it's a copy of a different type of engine, right? And this one's only got one cylinder where that's got 3 cylinders. So it needs a little bit more revs to get the power, but it's a much smaller machine, much more narrow machine. So I'll fire up and then we'll fire up and then we'll spin around and just track her off the other way. But you've got all the same stuff, right? Once again, imagine if you're a contractor, you have dig trenches and stuff. It's a super light machine. With the trailer, you can see the trailer over there, which just got all the implements on there, and there's other parts where I sort of walk through the trailer. You can rack it up and away you go. So much more narrow machine and so on and so forth. Still got good quality drive motors and so on and so forth. Maybe stop there, Clint. You want to spin around, we'll do a couple of trenches. So our trusty driver, Clint, will just dig a trench for us so you can sort of see the machine in operation. Do you know what I mean? So once again, it's probably rained about a week and a half ago here. So it's fairly soft actual ground. Now, even though I go through this video, our actual our office, our head office, our display is located in South Moolumbar, which is an ideal position for servicing all of New South Wales and all of Queensland. We send these all through Queensland and all through New South Wales, right? But if you want to physically inspect one yourself, this is doing the same thing as you coming and having a look, probably better, right? But if you actually really want to look at one, you're welcome to come at our factory at South Moolumbar, check it out, right? So, you see, obviously it digs a hole. People go, Matt, can you show me the bloody digger working? Yeah, well, it digs holes, so this is what it's doing perfectly, right? So we'll just dig a little bit more. Once again, remember, if you're a contractor of any sort, or you want to make a little bit extra money, this is probably the easiest business. If you own a small property, right, for essentially a full-blown tax deduction, remember, with the current government, seeing if you've got an ABN number and you're registered for the GST, right, you buy this, for example, in a package for $19,900 with the trailer and everything, right? You buy that package, okay, and then you can claim the whole thing back. You obviously get your GST back, right, which is about $2,000. Then over and above that as well, what actually happens is you also get the advantage of if you've got a business and you're paying tax, you'll get about 30% of the value back because you're not paying that tax, if that makes sense, right? So out of the $20,000, you get about another $6,500 back. So the net real cost of this, once you understand how the mathematics and the tax, so on and so forth, with the trailer package, is only about, give or take, about 12, 13 grand, which is damn cheap considering that you can go out and get $100 an hour with this, or save $100 an hour. And think of how many times, especially if you're a contractor, if you own a small property, you try to do things like, man, try digging that trench by hand. How long is it going to take you to dig that trench by hand? Okay, like honestly, it's going to take bloody ages, wholly and purely because you're digging it by hand. This has done it in literally minutes, okay? And we'll just come over here, have a look at how deep we dug, right? So It's not quite down as far as you'd need to go if you're doing like electrical conduit or something, but it's not much more work to actually get there and then do it. So the King 1.0 or the King 1.7 machine is the right machine for you, right? And we can choose, and I'll go through the trailers and stuff as part of these videos so you can see the packages. So this part of the video here, and we'll go chuck another implement on and check that out.